guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It is 12 o'clock on a Sunday, which means it's time for a Q&A. Now, this is where I take all the questions that you've asked over the course of the week, and I try to answer them to the best of my ability. Now, first of all, try to get your questions in by a Tuesday or a Wednesday. That's kind of important. I tend to film these things on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, just because I've got a very busy week generally. So if they're not in by Tuesday or Wednesday, you might miss the Q&A, in which case leave it down below and I'll get to it the following week. Also, you're getting my raw, unfiltered opinions, so it's not like I do any research on answering these questions. If I think that something could, form the basis of a longer video, I will absolutely do that as well. Also, I just want to say once more time at the end of the week, I say this every week, but thank you so much for watching the videos on this channel. If it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be making Magic TV. So the fact that this YouTube channel exists is because of the people that watch it. So thank you very much. And without further ado, we're going to get straight into it with this week's Q&A. Okay, so the first question is from B. Ethel Magician. How you doing? And they say, hey Craig, random question. I always thought you were married, but I don't see a ring on your finger. Or are you going to get married? Carry on with the great work you're doing with the channel. Thank you very much. I am married. I've been married for a very long time. I've been married for probably coming up on about 15 years now. And I just don't wear a ring. I never have. And I just don't do it. And one of the reasons is I'm a full-time professional magician. And when I do close-up magic, the majority of the work that I do is with coins. And having a ring on your finger can really affect the majority of the coin routines I do, because you're going to get clinks when coins are falling into left-hand finger palm. So I just explained that to my wife, Sarah, very early on, and she is very understanding. And as a result of that, even though I'm married, I don't wear a ring. So there you go. Yes, I am married. No, I don't wear a ring. Okay, so the next question is Devaro3427, who says, what are good tricks for when you have around 30 people all huddled close up, circling you fully? And to make it worse, some people's eye levels are below you. Ideally, tricks that are engaging and involve lots of them. So what tricks are good when you have 30 people all huddled close up, circling you fully? So it sounds like you're completely in the round, and it sounds like a street magic style of performance there. Anything really that can be done that doesn't involve bad angles. So this is not the time to do stuff where you're palming or you're holding out. This is not the time to do stuff where people are able to see what's happening if they look at a particular angle. This is the time to do stuff that's tried and tested, that you know will work in every environment. Now, the fact that you're saying some people's eye levels are below you, most tricks, that's not really too much of an issue, unless you're doing something like edge grip. But generally, as a rule, that's not really too much of an issue. I would do stuff that involves the spectator's hands an awful lot. So think about the last trick of Doc Daly, for example. That would be the perfect trick. You're having somebody hold their hand out, and you're having someone hold a hand out and you're putting the cards into their hand. Ambitious card is another perfect routine to do in this sort of situation. To be honest, I know I said this isn't the time to hold stuff out, but with that many people crammed around you, you could very easily get away with like a card under watch or a coin under watch style routine, and that would look absolutely fine. I think that sponge balls would work really well in this environment. Anything. I mean, I don't know the type of magician you are. I don't know the type of magic that you do, but just think about the stuff that you do and think about if there's anything that has angle restrictions. If it does have angle restrictions, that might not be the best routine to do in this scenario. And also, that's quite a stressful environment, 30 people all huddled around you. So I'd also stick to your material that's like a 1,000 timer. Do you know what I mean? The stuff that you can do inside out and back to front. You don't want to do untested material in this sort of environment, because you're going to be, it's a kind of a bit of a nerve-wracking situation. It's almost like a mini stage show where everyone's just ganging up on you. So do the stuff that you know, inside out, back to front, upside down, the material that you know is always going to get a great reaction. Okay, so the next question is from 03142, who says, hey, can you please make a coin magic video about magic with quarters or pocket change? I think pocket change is a really good idea, just stuff that you can do that you've got in your pockets, like coins in your pockets, and what can you do when you've got no gimmicks or half dollars or dollars and that sort of thing. Yeah, I think that's great. I'll get onto that at some point in the next few weeks, and I'll put that video together for you. Okay, so the next question is Card Trick Academy, who says, "Hey Craig, thanks for always putting out a lot of content we all enjoy. You are more than welcome. What editing software do your team use to edit your videos?" Final Cut Pro. I'm an Apple fan. The whole marketing team use Apples here. I've always been a huge fan of Apples, and we use Final Cut Pro. I think it's. I know that it's debatable whether it's the best editing software. I know a lot of people that use it. There's some people who don't use it, but for us, it suits our needs perfectly. Okay, so the next question is from Plasma Pencil, who says, "Hi, I've recently watched a video about Ryland's close-up case. I'm interested in his metal close-up case, and my question is, where did he obtain it?" He got it from Blackpool Magic Convention a couple of years ago. He was after a close-up case, and then he saw that one, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, that's perfect." So he got it from Blackpool, I think, from memory. But you can get close-up cases like that. You can get cases like that. They're not even designed for magicians. You can just search sort of metal cases and things like that, and they've got all different sizes, and you can just pick one. So yeah, they are commercially available. If you just Google, like metal cases and that sort of thing, you'll find a website that sells lots of them at different sizes, and you can pick one that suits you. Okay, so the next question is from Just Josh 483, who says, "When looking for an expanded coin shell, is it important to buy the shell with a matching set of normal coins to go with it, or can you just buy the shell and have it work with whatever coins you have? Obviously the same type of coin, just not ones that come perfectly matched in a set with the shell. Will it actually make a difference in performance, or is it just a marketing thing to try and upsell you to get the matching coin set along with the gimmick?" Look, it's not really too much of an issue. I actually prefer to use expanded shells. So my preferred type of shell is an expanded shell that will go over any type of coin. I actually prefer to use that. I have got a couple of Dean sets. Dean set is a set of coins where they have been specifically designed to match the shell. The problem with a lot of those is with an expanded shell, the shell is expanded, right? So the shell itself is expanded. With sets like Dean set, the coins are cut down, so the shell's not expanded. Now, the advantage of that is if you've not expanded a shell, the shell looks the exact same size as the coin because it's not expanded, right? So that is the advantage, but the major disadvantage is the only coins that are designed to work in there are the coins that are actually designed to work in that shell. So if you lose one or two of them, like I have in the past, you're basically in huge trouble. You just are. Because you're not going to be able to find matching coins to fit that shell again. Whilst if you've got an expanded shell, they'll fit over anything. The disadvantage of an expanded shell is that it's expanded slightly, so it's a little bit bigger than a normal coin, but to be honest, nobody ever notices. So this is my walk around set. This is the set. This is like my everyday carry set of coins. This is for something else, but this is for my walk around set of coins. And I have in here 6 1964 half dollars. So 1964 half dollars, a pure, there goes the thing, a pure silver half dollar. So I've got 6 of them, and I've got a shell to fit over the 6 of them. And I didn't buy all of these together at the same time. I bought them at various different times, but the shell fits over it perfectly. This is a Jamie Schoolcraft shell in all fairness, but as you can see, the coverage is really good. I can throw it from side to side. It's great. And then when I want to produce the coin, I can. So that's my everyday carry set. This is what I always have in my pocket. Yeah, I mean, that's an expanded shell. So I have no problem with expanded shells. They tend to be a little bit cheaper. And if you do lose the coins, you can replace them with other coins that everything will fit inside the shell. The one other advantage of a non-expanded shell is they fit into an Akito box as well. And if you can get a shell that fits into an Akito box, there's a lot you can actually do with that. So there you go. Okay, so the next question again is from Just Josh, who says, "Another question for you, Craig. Is the hows and whys of the thumb tip video still going to be a thing, or has it been put on hiatus? If it's been put on hold, do you have any ideas for resources I can look at to get more out of my thumb tip outside of bill changes and doing things with handkerchiefs?" Excuse me. So first of all, it's not been put on hiatus. I've been very busy recently with various different things, including, Ryland's journey into AGT with the auditions and everything. It's all been really, really busy. And the thumb tip video is one that's going to be quite expansive because there is so much you can do with the thumb tip beyond just, like you say, silk handkerchiefs and bill changes. There's an awful lot more you can do. So, and I want to do it right. Anytime I put a video out, I want it to be the best video it can be. So it is coming. I've kind of put the content together. Now it's a case of filming it and editing it, which will definitely take place over the summer. But while you're waiting, a good resource for videos with a thumb tip, I think, I remember getting this when I was a lot younger. Let me just see if I can find it. There we go. Thumb tip miracles. There we go. Darwin's Encyclopedia of Thumb Tip Magic. That's what you're after. Darwin's Encyclopedia of Thumb Tip Magic. It's a Penguin Magic release. And it is in stock at Penguin. And it's a 3 DVD set. And first of all, and I got this many years ago. I haven't watched it for a long time, but I remember being over the moon with it. So first of all, they go through a bunch of different techniques of how to use the thumb tip, and then go through a bunch of different routines beyond just the original ideas. I mean, there's so much that you can actually do with this. I'm just reading it now. Restored napkin, paper clips, alternate cut and restored rope, butcher's cord, firecrackers, candy, vanishing cigarette, a flash paper, my gosh, there's so much that's going on here. This is insane. So there's an awful lot that you can do, lots of bonus routines. There's 3 volumes. There's about 100 different routines on there. So if you're looking for something really cool, that'll give you a bunch of ideas with a thumb tip, then absolutely look at Gary Darwin's DVDs that you can get from Penguin Magic. But outside of that, I will be doing a sort of thumb tip housing-wise at some point, probably towards the end of the summer. Okay, so we've got one final question from Just Josh, who says, one final question for you, Craig. I've heard you say before that as magicians, our job is to add value to the event we are being hired to perform at. So here's my question for you. Other than providing entertainment, what additional value can we as magicians provide at events? I want to break into the wedding industry here in the US, but at least in my area, having a magician at a wedding is unheard of and a bit outlandish. People don't really see the need for entertainment at a wedding, much less the magician. So what else can I provide to help sell myself as an asset to the event when talking to potential clients and also other professionals in the wedding industry? So wedding magic is really big over in the UK, and I know it's not in the US. And to be honest, that's a really good thing. And the reason it's a really good thing is very simple. It means that that's an untapped market that you are going to be able to tap into, or somebody's going to be able to tap into it. If it's not you, it's somebody else. Because all it takes is for people that go to weddings to wake up and realize how useful magic can be at a wedding. And it's all about having the right mindset. I remember when I was, my background's in sales and marketing. And I remember when I first went to my first sales job, my mentor, the guy that was kind of training me, said sales is a mindset thing. And I said, what do you mean? He said, well, it's a mindset thing. You look at every situation in a positive way or a negative way. And he told me a story, which I actually use as well. And the story was about this guy who had this shoe shop, several shoe shops over here in the UK, and wanted to actually expand internationally. Excuse me. So he decided for some reason that he wanted to go to Africa and open up a shoe shop in Africa. Now, he had 2 sons. And he went to his older son and he said, hey, we're opening up a shoe shop in Africa. I want to jump on a plane, head over there, find a location, start selling shoes. So his older son said, yep, no problem, I'm on it. Flew over to Africa. And then as soon as he got off the airplane and walked out the airport, he very quickly realized that nobody was wearing shoes. And he rang his dad and he said, Dad, nobody is wearing shoes. There is no way anybody is going to want to buy anything from a shoe shop over here. Send me back home. And he jumped on a flight and he got back home. Now, while that was all happening, his dad said to his younger son, he said, son, we're opening up a shoe shop in Africa and I want you to go ahead and open it up. Go over there, set up a shoe shop. So he's like, yes, Dad. So he flew over. And the same thing happened. He got off the plane, he walked out the airport, had a look around, very quickly realized that nobody was wearing shoes. And he rang up his dad and he said, Dad, nobody is wearing shoes here. Everybody is going to want to buy what we've got. And that is the difference when it comes to mindset. You can look at the fact that the wedding industry in America is defunct, is dead, and nobody books magicians. And you can kind of go, well, it's just not going to work. Or you can look at it and say, you know what? I can make it work. I can be the person that pioneers wedding magic in this country. Because if you don't do it, somebody else will. So what you need to understand about wedding magic is that it serves a purpose above and beyond just having a magician there to entertain the guests. So, for example, you've got two groups of people, two families that are meeting each other for the first time. They don't know each other. And a lot of the time, it can be quite awkward when they meet each other for the first time. Having a walk-around magician will break that ice, bring groups of people together. Having a magician going around, going from group to group, performing to one group, then another group, somebody else comes over, and you bring these groups of people together, and then as you walk off to another group, they're left talking about something that they've got a common interest in, what they've just seen. And it helps provoke conversation. So that's the first thing, right? That's a really important thing. That is really important. That's one of the big things about magic at weddings. It serves a purpose. The other purpose it serves, now if you've got a traditional wedding where you kind of have the wedding ceremony, then you have a wedding breakfast, and then typically the venue would turn the room round, and then there's an evening reception. During that room turnaround period of time, there's not really anything going on. There's just not really anything going on. Everyone's kind of standing around, and if there's evening guests arriving, they're kind of just arriving and there's nothing happening. Having a magician during that period works really, really well because it brings the atmosphere in the room up. It gets everybody talking, it gets everyone chatting, it keeps the energy in the room up. And as evening guests arrive, you can kind of give them that wow factor. You can do meet and greet magic. So as they walk through the door, you can say, hey, my name's Craig, I'm the magician here. Welcome to the event. Welcome to the wedding. Let me show you some magic. So there's a couple of different reasons why magic works really well beyond just the fact that it's a really cool thing to do. Because a lot of the time, entertainment is obtrusive. If they put a karaoke on, everybody's got to be involved in that karaoke, whether they like karaoke or not. But with a magician, you can have a magician mingling around, and if a group of people don't want to see the magic, that's absolutely fine. They don't have to. Now, beyond performing close-up magic at a wedding, the other thing that you might want to look into is Paul Martin's How to Be a Wedding MC course that he runs in the Pro Magic Academy, because he has a great system that makes you more valuable than just a magician. And instead, you're billing yourself as a kind of a magical MC. So in other words, you're there for the entire day to run and host the wedding. So you make sure that everything's running smoothly. So you're liaising with the venue. You're making sure everyone's sat down when they need to sit down. You're making sure that when the bride and groom walk into the door, you're introducing them. You're making sure that at various different parts of the day, you're doing magic to keep people entertained. You've probably got a show in the evening to really give people the wow factor, kind of like a half-an-hour cabaret show or whatever. And Paul Martin will teach you how to do all of this, all of it from beginning to end. He goes through everything with a fine-tooth comb. That, for me, is if you're really wanting to kind of offer something beyond just the magic, then speaking to Paul Martin would be the way to go. Because if you can get in there as a magical MC, brilliant. Now, if I was in, and I've mentioned this before on the channel, but if I was in America, I would be contacting every single wedding venue. And I would be arranging meetings with every single wedding venue, and I would be pointing out to them my background as a magician and how magic is popular in the UK, and you're hoping to bring it over here to the US, and that you are going to be starting to offer magic for brides and grooms in the local area, and that you'd like to partner up with that venue so that they can offer magic to their clients. Because you see, the thing is that weddings are always trying to organise something different, something unique. Over here in the UK, there's always something crazy being offered. You go to a wedding fair, there's like, so many different things that are going on. Owls flying down with rings and just fireworks. There's a million different things going on. Everybody's always trying to one-up themselves. And that happens an awful lot of weddings. So if you can convince a wedding company or a wedding venue that having magic will really give them a competitive advantage, and they'll be able to offer a magician as part of their wedding packages. That's something that they might sit up and pay attention to. The other thing that I would do is I would partner up with wedding venues, and I would offer your services for free as part of a competition. So this does several things. One, it allows that wedding venue to see how good you are, and more importantly, how much value you can add as a wedding. But secondly, it tells if they're running it as a competition, it tells all of their brides and grooms and all of their clients about magic at a wedding. And all it takes is for a few venues in a local area to start talking about magic at a wedding, and all of a sudden everybody's going to think it's a really good idea. Now, if you're really smart, what you do with this competition is you'd say, right, this is how I want the competition to run. I'm going to give one of your brides and grooms that are getting married here in the next 12 months my services for free. All they have to do is enter a competition, and the competition, very simply, is they have to write down in no more than 50 words why they want a magician at their wedding. Now, what that does is, of course, brides and grooms are going to want this for free. If they see that, they're going to enter that competition. So, A, it makes you look good to the venue because you're offering something up to free to help them, because it will be a help for them because it gives them a competition they can run to their clients. Two, it allows you to showcase your talents to that wedding venue. But three, all of their brides and grooms are now writing down why they think magic at a wedding is a great idea. They're convincing themselves. So then, even if they don't win the competition, a lot of them are now probably thinking, you know what, it probably would be a good idea to get a magician at a wedding. And because you've already partnered up with that venue, who do you think they're going to go to? You do that with enough wedding venues, before you know it, you're going to be able to corner the market. And honestly, it's going to be like a floodgate. When the person over in the States figures out that wedding magic is a great idea, honestly, it's going to be a license to print money. So why not make it you? Because if you don't do it, someone else will. Okay, so the next question is from Howard Markowitz, who says, "Hi Craig, love your programming, thank you very much. For those of us who perform Quantum Deck, will we be able to upgrade to a Quantum Deck 2? I've called it Quantum Deck 2, but that's just the working title. It's not really Quantum Deck 2. It's completely different. It doesn't involve a blank deck of cards or anything like that. It wouldn't be an upgrade. It's not like, like sometimes people bring out version 2 of the trick, and it's basically the same trick with one small refinement. This is a completely different thing. It's just one of the many principles is based on one of the principles with the Quantum Deck, but it is very, 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 very different. So I don't think we'd be upgrading people, because honestly, I've been using the working title Quantum Deck 2 for about a year now, something like that, and I still use the Quantum Deck as well. They both work in different ways, because the Quantum Deck, the beautiful thing about that is it's a blank deck, as you know. I don't need to sell you on it, you perform it. So it's not really an upgrade, it's really just a different trick. It's just that that's the working title. Okay, so the next question is Grey Magic, who says, "Looking forward to the new ACAN, Craig. It should be great. I think it will be. Thank you for everything you do. You're welcome. My question is, what is the greatest trick to do at a gig? What is the greatest trick to do at a gig? The greatest trick to do at a gig is the trick that you like doing the best, because people buy into something that you're passionate about. So for me, I just saw Sequence by Rich Relish, and I love it. I think it's a really clever method. I wouldn't do it. If I performed it at a venue or a gig, it wouldn't go down very well, because it's not my style of magic. And I think it's important to understand, even if a trick's good and somebody else kills with it, it doesn't necessarily mean it's the best trick for you. You need to figure out what your style is and what you like performing yourself. I could say to you, hey, the greatest trick to perform at a gig is the invisible deck. And you might agree with me, you might disagree with me, but you have to base it on so many different factors. Do you like using sleight of hand? Do you prefer to use gimmicks? Do you perform in a situation where there's tables? Do you perform in a situation where you can sit down? Do you perform in a situation where it's really just strolling? All of these factors, what's your character like? What type of magic do you do already? All of these factors put together makes the best trick to perform at a gig. Really, it's your choice. It really is. For me at the moment, the three tricks that I'm really enjoying performing the most, and that I kind of open almost every single set with, are Apparition, and finally flipped off Mirage, and a coins across with a shell and something else, which has not been published. Those are the three that I'm really having a kick out of at the moment. Those are the three that I'm doing an awful lot. But it changes. Next week it might be something completely different. So yeah, I mean, look at the tricks that you're passionate about. Look at the tricks that you enjoy doing. That's the best trick. Okay, so the next question is from Purple Rider 59, who says, "Hi Craig, love the show. Have you ever performed Mental Epic? Is it outdated, old-fashioned, or still a worker for parlour and stage?" Interesting question. So Mental Epic, if you don't know what Mental Epic is it's a board with 3 sections on it, and the idea is that you have it's the one ahead principle basically. So you have somebody think of something, you make a prediction. You have somebody else think of something, you make a prediction, and then you have somebody else think of something, you make a prediction, and then you show that your predictions are absolutely correct. Right? That's Mental Epic in a shell, basically. I don't do the original Mental Epic because I do think that looks like a prop. On stage, I don't do that. However, what I do is that if you've seen my routine, Ticket to Ride, that's literally just come out from Alakazam. It got launched on Thursday. So if you've seen Ticket to Ride, which is my new Alakazam trick, and it's a bunch of train tickets and it allows you to do mind reading, go and look at the trailer, because I perform 4 tricks in the trailer, and one of the tricks that I perform is a Mental Epic style routine. But there's no Mental Epic board. Instead, I'm using Post-it notes, and I'm doing a few things in this video. First of all, I'm making the predictions on Post-it notes, and I'm actually writing on the Post-it notes what it is that I'm predicting. So the first thing I predict is an activity, and I'm writing at the top activity, and then I'm writing down what I think the activity is they're thinking of. And I'm working one ahead on this stuff. But I'm doing it in quite a unique way. The other thing that a lot of Mental Epic routines have in common is there's 2 really open world predictions, and then there's 1 closed prediction. So it's like, think of anything else, say stop as I riffle down this deck. And I think that really kind of diminishes the whole routine. So what I do, and you'll see this if you go look at the trailer to Ticket to Ride, I make it a story about going away and doing something as a couple, and they get to decide what the activity is they're doing. They get to decide which celebrity is going with them. They get to decide the location that they're going to. So they decide all of this stuff, and I've predicted it ahead of time. And I've performed that in parlour, I've performed that on stage many, many times. That's my favourite way of doing a Mental Epic style routine, because it seems more organic. It's just a Post-it note. But even though it's a Post-it note and not a big prop, if you've got an elegant looking wine glass and you're dropping the things into the wine glass, it still looks really, really good. And if you don't want to do it that way, the other way of doing it is with a flip chart. And if you go look at Mandy Munden, who is an incredible performer, and you go and look at her BGT audition, you can see that's what she did. She did it with a flip chart, and it looks fantastic with a flip chart, works just as well. So if you want to make it play really big, use a flip chart like Mandy did. I tend to use a Post-it notepad, but either way, try to get away from that closed prediction and the 2 open predictions. Try to make each one as impressive as the other. And if you go and have a look at Ticket to Ride, you'll see exactly how I accomplish that. So yes, I do perform Mental Epic, but just not probably the way that you're thinking of it. And it's definitely not old-fashioned. It's an incredible trick, as you can see from the reactions in the trailer to Ticket to Ride. Okay, so the next question is from Steedman99, who says, "Craig, do you have any recommendations for out to lunch ideas? Sorry if you've covered this before. I looked, but I couldn't find it." I've done some stuff on out to lunch in this channel before. I am planning on doing a big thing on out to lunch at some point, but it's probably more going to be about September, October. But there's a lot you can do with out to lunch. So yeah, I mean, some ideas that I've talked about before on this channel is to use it as a peak. Use out to lunch as a peak. I did a video on this channel a little while ago about 5 peaks that don't involve a peak wallet, and one of them was using an out to lunch pad. You can also use it. On the Netrix, I've got a routine that uses out to lunch to be able to do a colouring style routine for kids, where the picture colours itself in. and then vanishes just as quickly. That's really cool. And also, I put a voodoo routine up using Out to Lunch recently on the Netrix as well. There's performances of both of those routines on Magic TV, but that's a great use of it because you have somebody write the name of what the stickman is. You draw a stickman, they write a name underneath, and then they pick where they want it to stick the pin. And when they look at the picture, there's a big red X wherever it is that they picked, which is really cool. And also on the Netrix is a routine that I call BCM, and it stands for Business Card Matrix, and it combines a business card with friction with Out to Lunch principle. And basically the whole idea is that you draw 4 circles on 4 different corners of a business card, and you cause those 4 circles to come together just like Matrix on the business card, and then you make the coins fall out into your hand, which you then give to the spectator, which is really cool. Really, really cool, guys. I very much like that one. And now, outside of stuff that I've not done, one of my favourite uses of Out to Lunch, a couple of different ones. Jay Sankey has an incredible version of Out to Lunch that uses it as an anniversary waltz, and he was one of the first people that I saw that came up with the idea of having a double-sided Out to Lunch gaff. So you can actually do Out to Lunch twice, which is really clever. And he uses that to do like an anniversary waltz where you initial one card, one business card, the spectator initials the other business card, and they fuse together. That's really cool. Very much like that. The other thing that Jay Sankey did is, and I think this was on the Boris Pocus DVD or 22 Blows to the Head or something like that, Jay did a sort of a selective memory loss style thing with an Out to Lunch principle, where he draws symbols on a business card which somebody signs and holds onto, and he tells them to remember the symbols, and then makes it so that they forget one of the symbols, and they're convinced that there were 4, but when they look there were 3, and it's just a really the way that routine is structured is just brilliant. Daryl has some really nice work on the Out to Lunch, especially with different coloured pens, which is really cool. Greg Wilson brought out something called the Stockholder wallet many years ago, which has some great applications of Out to Lunch as well. Some very unique stuff it's worth looking at, including a coin routine, which is kind of killer, to be perfectly honest. And then I put some stuff on the new Keymaster project from Penguin using Out to Lunch, and holes on from a key. So a hole vanishes from the key and appears on a business card that they signed from the very beginning. So there's a load of different ways of actually using Out to Lunch. My advice would be, while you're waiting for me to do this video, think outside the box. You have a system here where somebody can sign the face of a card and it will change or print or vanish. So what can you do with that? What can you do with that? When you think about it like that, that's the system. What could you do? Because when you start thinking that way, you'll realize that the sky is the limit. Okay, so the next question is from SPC 97067C. How you doing? Question: I've been working on a double blank card routine for a while and been trying to find out routines that only use double blank cards to seek inspiration and possibilities, gimmick or not. However, most, if not all, of the routines I've found are just ambitious card routines ending with an anniversary waltz or an impossible location, or just blank cards that turn into some other cards. Can you please recommend a few routines or gimmicks, that's not the above? P.S. Quantum Deck still involves playing cards. I know I can change it to something else, and I've tried, but I'm hoping not to do an ACAN. Okay, so you're wanting routines with double blank cards. My advice is to go check out my project Whitewash. Now, this was recorded specifically for RSVP Online. Now, if you don't know, RSVP Online is Russ Stevens' kind of online streaming platform for all of the stuff from RSVP. If you don't realize, Russ Stevens ran a video production company, RSVP, Russ Stevens Video Production, for many, many years. And recently, it's come back as a streaming platform. And there's a ton of material on there. It's really good. But as well as a ton of material being on there, there's new unique projects that are going up all the time. And one of those is a project called Whitewash, which I filmed for I filmed for Russ, and basically it's a collection of routines with blank cards, not just double blanks, but blank faces and blank backs. And I put a ton of routines on there that are all completely unique, and it's got some great reviews from people. Vanish Magazine did a big review on the project and absolutely loved it. So it's well worth checking that out. Go check that out. Go check out Whitewash. You can get free access to RSVP online for like 3 days, although most people don't cancel because there's so much stuff on there. But go check that out. RSVP online. Go check it out. Outside of that, I will do a Hows and Whys on blank cards. I think that would be a really good thing to do. One of the best routines with a blank card, in my opinion, is Imagine by G. Now, technically, it's a card printing, but it's just completely impossible because you show this card that's completely blank and you fold it up, and then you have somebody initial it and hold on to it. So they hold on to it and they can see it's blank. And then you have somebody think of a playing card. And then when they open up their hand, there's the signature, and they open it up and it's printed into the card that they picked. It's incredible. Now, you can still get Imagine by G, but you can also get, you can learn the routine on G's Penguin Live. So if you go onto the Penguin, and you search G, search for G's Penguin Live, you'll learn that trick on there. That's one of the best tricks that you'll ever learn with blank cards. So have a look at that one. That's really good. And while you're at it, if you get time and you're on the Netrix, have a look at Face Off, because Face Off is a really great trick that uses blank cards in a very, very unique way. So go and have a look at Face Off as well. That's really cool. Okay, so the next question is from No Name 1067. Hello, Craig. Love your channel and all the great content. I was wondering if you could go a little bit more in depth about the Hang Ping Chien and the Gallo pitch, please. I've been struggling with these moves. Any help or tips to improve them are welcome. Thank you very much. Cheers from Chile. Okay, so let's put the laptop down for a minute, shall we? Don't have a close-up pad, but I think we can get away with this. So let's have a look here. So the Gallo pitch is, I love the Hang Ping Chien and the Gallo pitch. I've got a shell in here, so we're not going to use the shell. We'll just use 4 coins. So the Gallo pitch, and I go more into depth on this in the Netrix, but this will give you a rough idea. Hopefully you can see that. So the Gallo pitch, I want you to imagine, well, first of all, let me show you what it looks like. Okay, so it looks like this. Let's say I've got 2 coins in each hand. I've got 2 here, and I've got 2 here. Okay, and then when I do this, boom, the third one goes across. All right, so many different ways you can use this. But I want you to imagine you've got an invisible X here on the table, okay? That's important. Now, you're going to take the 2 coins. You can do it with any amount of coins, and I'll show you that in a minute. But let's just say you've got 2 here and 2 here, and you make a fist. You're going to classic palm one of the coins in the right hand, okay? Now, you're going to show that you've got 2 in each hand again. Your left hand throws first, and it's going to go along the axis of that X, and your goal is to try and get the coins to land in the center of the X. So it's kind of like that, okay? So your goal is to have, so you've got 2 coins, 2 coins. Remember, there's 2 over here. You want them to land in the center of the X. Now you pick the coins up, 1 here and 1 here. Notice I'm picking 1 up in my hand, and I'm picking 1 up, but I'm holding it just by the thumb and the forefinger. And the reason is, what I'm going to do is, as I throw from this hand, I'm going to leave that coin as this hand turns over. And because I'm holding it just between the thumb and the forefinger, it's very easy for me to leave that coin there. And the reason for my hand to move out the way is so that this hand can throw its coins. Now you're going to throw along this axis and have them land in the middle. And you're only going to throw 1 because 1's in classic palm. And it will coalesce with the 1 that you leave over there. And it will look like you threw 2 from this hand. So in full speed, it looks like this. You show the 2 coins in each hand. There you go. 2 coins in each hand. You throw these 2 right here. You pick them up. And you throw these 2 right here. And then you pick these up in this hand. And boom, you've got 3. Now you could do that with any amount of coins, really. So let's just say I started with 4 coins over here. And I did a Benzeus friction palm. And I showed that the first coin went across. And I say, look, now there's 3 coins here. 1, 2, 3, and 1 over there. Now watch, if I do this, that's the next one. That's 2 and 2. So now we've got 2 here, 1, 2. We've got 2 here, 1, 2. If I do this, that's the third one across. leaves us with one last one. What? 1 here, 3 here. That's 1 and 3. And if I do that, that's all 4. Now, I wouldn't recommend using the Gallo pitch 4 times in a row. It's probably a little bit overkill. But in essence, you could do if you wanted to. So that's what the Gallo pitch is. Now, the other thing that's worth noting, oh, there we go, messed that up completely. The other thing that's worth noting is that you can do the Gallo pitch into a spectator's hand. That's much better. So you can do a Gallo pitch into a spectator's hand. So if they cut their hands together, you can do that same thing. You just imagine the hands. That's where the center of the X is. Okay. Now the hang ping Chien is a little bit different. And again, let's go from this situation. So we've got 2 and 2, right? So it's 2 here, 2 here, and we've got 2 here. Okay. 2 and 2. Now I'm going to put these 2 over here, and in that action now I've got 3 over here and 1 over here. So with the hang ping Chien, you're showing the coins like this, but you're going to have 1 coin down towards the bottom of the fist, and it's held very loosely. This is in the fist. This is held down at the bottom of the fist, and it's held very loosely. So if I move my right hand out the way, my left hand out the way, that coin's going to drop there, right? Now you show the 2 coins here. And you're going to classic palm one of them. So I've classic palmed one. You could just show them like this if you want to, or like this. But what you're going to do is you're going to throw these 2 coins on the table. But you're going to only throw one of them. One stays in classic palm. In order for these to land on the table, this hand's going to move out the way. As it does move out the way, it leaves its coin there, right? So in essence, you're doing this. 2 coins here and 2 coins here, okay? And now I've only got 1 here, and I've got 1 in classic palm. Now, this is useful for so many different things. Like, for example, the coins through table, as popularized by Pat Page. So you could, for example, let's just say, okay, let's just do this, for example. So let's just say I throw the coins in the hand, but I hold one back over here. So that's when the first coin goes through the table. Now, I can do the same thing again, throw these over here, hold back 1. So that's the second coin through the table. Now I can pick these 2 up, and I can do the hang ping Chien as I take these coins out. So now they think there's 2 here and 2 here. In reality, I've got 1 here, 2 here, 1 there. So now I can do this and show 1, and do the same hang ping Chien to show 3. And then that will allow me to have that 4th and final one go through like that in 4. The other thing about the hang ping Chien is you can, if you want to, very, very easily do the hang ping Chien from other items. So let's say, for example, I put 2 coins here in this purse. So I put 2 coins in the purse. There you go. Boom, close it up. And then I show that I've got 2 coins here, like that. Well, I've just done a hang ping Chien because now I've got 3 coins. Okay, I've got an extra coin over here, so I can do that and show 3. And what's happening there is I'm showing the 2 coins, putting them into the purse, but one's going behind the purse. So I've got 1 behind the purse, which means that I do the hang ping Chien from the purse. I'm going to only throw one of these to the left hand. I'm going to drop that coin that's behind the purse. It looks like I throw the 2 here. So now I can show that I've got 3. So in full speed, I'll do it with the last coin. You show you've got 1 coin that goes right there inside the purse, just like that. You've got 3 coins that have already come out. There you go, 3. Remember, 3 here, 1 inside the purse. All I have to do is snap, and that's coin number 4. Boom. So yeah, I mean, hopefully that answers your question about hang ping Chien. Hang ping Chien and Gallo pitch are 2 very useful moves that you can do an awful lot with. So it's absolutely worth learning them. As I say, I go more into depth with this on the Netrix, but hopefully that will answer your question. Okay, so the next question is from Jay Wellabits, maybe, who says, thanks for the great Q&A. You're more than welcome. Here's a tough one. What are your top 5 best card tricks that are not pick a card or find a card tricks? I'll exclude out of this world kind of tricks and ambitious card tricks because they are too obvious. What are your top 5 favorite card tricks that are not pick a card tricks? I'm going to do a video about this. I love this. I'm inspired. But off the top of my head, I'm going to say cards across. Absolutely cards across. Card under box. Color changing deck. Card to pocket. And twisting style routines where you know, like you've got 4 aces and they turn face down one at a time, but something with more of a kicker, a little bit like the John G type routine where you take out a 4 of a kind, they all turn face down, then they turn into aces, then they turn back into the 4 of a kind, that sort of thing. And I'm going to throw all backs in there as well. I love performing all backs routines. I've got a great all backs routine called All Backs Extreme on the Netrix that I perform as an opening routine all the time. If you don't know what that is, you have someone pick a card and they're looking at a blank card, and then you realise that all of the cards are blank. It's like, hang on a minute, a back, and you realise that all of the cards have got backs on both sides, and you're showing all of the way through all of the cards, every single one has got backs on both sides, and then you end up printing them, and it's a great opening routine. But yeah, they're off the top of my head, that's what I'd say, but I will go more into depth in this at some point soon. Okay, so David Blaine says, when's your Svengali project coming out? Thanks for talking about full deck, full shuffles and the coin routine, as well as answering my questions. You're more than welcome. The Svengali deck project, it's coming out at some point through the 1914. Me and Dee just need to get our schedules sorted. I've got 3 projects to film with the 1914, and it's just nailing them down and nailing me down to a date. So it will happen. It is coming. I just don't know when, but I've had that project ready for about 2 years now. So I don't know. Okay, so the next question is Adrian Suter. How you doing, buddy? I've been learning the Arison stack over the last few weeks, and now I'm diving into your forecast project. Apart from false cuts and full shuffles, what Sleights would best enhance mem deck work? I would say the ability to cull a card really well, because there's a lot of routines that will require maybe one card to not be in stack, or to be in a different position, or to not be in the 40th position, be in the 7th position. So being able to cull a card very effectively is really useful, because as you're talking to the spectators in between routines, you can take a card out of one position and put it into another position. And with a mem deck, it's really easy. So for example, if I wanted to put the 4 of spades into the 7th position in mnemonica, I know the 4 of spades is 40, and I know the 7th position is the ace of spades. So I'd spread the deck face up, I'd cull the 4 of spades when I see it, and when I see the ace of spades, the 4 of spades would just get slotted to the left of it, and that way I know it's gone straight into the 7th position. So yeah, I mean, that would be probably the main routine that I would say, the main sleight that I would say, outside of false cuts and full shuffles. I would say get really good at the cull. Okay, so the next question again is from Adrian Suter, who says, idea for the Netrix, could you add a Flourishes section? I am actually speaking to somebody who is amazing at flourishing about putting some flourishes on the Netrix, because I'm not a flourisher, but I know it's something that people want to see. So I am looking into that. So look for an announcement probably September or October. Okay, Dan C. McKill says, thanks for answering the question, Craig. Is the full deck, full shuffle video on the horizon? Yes, I am putting that together. It will be coming sooner rather than later. I have got a massive section on the Netrix on full shuffles, but I am doing something for Magic TV soon as well. Okay, so the next question and the final question is from Matthew Wendley, who says, hi Craig, do you have any recommendations on downloads which cover strong stage routines? Downloads that cover strong stage routines. I think Bill Abbott's your go-to guy for this. It used to be Scott Alexander, but now, I mean, if you can still get them, Standing Up on Stage by Scott Alexander is brilliant. It's a 5 DVD set. He had bought them out as a download, but his shop's down since he passed away. But I know those DVDs are still available in various different places. If you can get Standing Up on Stage, that's amazing, because Scott was one of the greatest stage performers in the world, and he broke down a ton of stuff on there. Outside of Standing Up on Stage, Bill Abbott, as I say, is fantastic. Bill has got some amazing routines. Some of them require physical products, others are downloads. And do yourself a favour and thank me later. Go and get chairs that Bill Abbott put out. It wasn't by Bill Abbott, but it's one of the best stage routines you'll see. There's not that much magic in it, but it's 10 minutes of pure entertainment. And I've done it for crowds of up to, 1,000+ people, and brought the house down, and it's been better received than anything else I've done in the show. So if you want to do something that's like just really killer, consider getting chairs from Bill Abbott, because that's amazing. So there you go, guys. That's another Q&A in the bag. Thank you once again for joining me right here on Magic TV. If it wasn't for you asking questions, there would be no Q&A. So thank you very much. Don't forget, you want to see more videos like this, like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below. All of that is very important. And also don't forget to go and check out the videos that I've got going up later on today. I've got another 2 videos going up later on today, so go check those out. I will see you again soon. Don't forget to join the Netrix. We've got a Discord server attached to the Netrix as well. They are really popping. We've just had a Q&A from Magic Belay. That was incredible. We've had a Q&A before that with Mark Kirstein. We've got some incredible stuff going on with the Netrix and with the Discord server attached to the Netrix. So please go ahead, check it out, www.thenetrix.com. Go check it out and see what all the fuss is about. I'll see you again soon. My name's Craig from Magic TV.